Alright, this is my first time ever doing a Warbond and update review together. Normally I don't even review Warbonds or review updates, but this time around I feel like this update is pretty decent and pretty unique when it comes to what mechanics that they rework and what mechanics that they add on to it. Now when it comes from the whole Warbond review part, I'm not going to go great into details. I think people like Irvin have a better understanding, and at a micro level, he has a better understanding to how stealth works in this game. So if you want to watch that sort of Warbond review, you should. But this is just from my perspective of both the update, the missions, and the Warbond in itself. If you're new to my channel, if you're just clicking on this video because you see the thumbnail, I've played a lot of Helldivers 2. I have around 2,000 hours in the game. I've done a lot of solo no death runs. I do sim runs. I've done a lot of full clears. I've also posted loadout videos on public matches. I'm pretty much, a Helldivers 2 player who just uploads a lot of the gaming content, and sometimes I do weapon reviews here and there, but most of my content is just me playing the game at a high level of difficulty 10 and show you guys different loadouts, show you guys how I do no death runs and stuff like that, and all that cool jazz. That's my channel if you're new to it. If you're not new to it, you already know what's up. So let's get into it. Let's start off with the update with itself when it comes to the rework of detection and suppressors. I think these two in conjunction are a positive rework. I think reworking detection overall made a lot of the average players want to engage into stealth mechanics, because the common complaint that I've heard or that I've seen from the threads and forums and whatnot is that a lot of enemies, especially the Devastator, Rocket Strider, and even the Marauder at times, can see through walls. This time around, I'm noticing less of that, of how their detection works. So now they're not really able to see through walls. It's probably still happening. I wouldn't doubt it, but it's not as common as it used to be. And then now when it comes to just detection in general, it's just massively reduced to aid the average player, to help him get into the niche playstyle of stealth. I think that's a good way to go, is trying to placate towards the average player on how he can engage with different mechanics and how he can engage different scenarios in a creative way other than just boom, boom, shoot, shoot. I think those sort of changes are a positive rework. When it comes to suppressors, now the people who have finally wanted suppressors to have their little fantasy role, now you guys are now in the bag. Suppressors before this update didn't really have the best audio ranges. They had the same audio range as the Bushwhacker. So when you shoot the Bushwhacker and you shoot the SOCOM pistol, you basically have the same audio range, besides a little bit from like 3 meters. A lot of people saw that as negative, and now since they do a suppressor change where suppressors actually have a niche role and they do well in their niche role, I feel like that's also a positive change that Arrowhead has done. Arrowhead, please listen to your average players. Please listen to the players who want the fantasy of being, a tactical player or whatnot when it comes to suppressors. I understand, and I'm pretty sure everyone understands, even if you're not a gun nerd, that suppressors in real life do not work that way. But at the end of the day, it's a game that wants to evolve players into their fantasies and into their aesthetic. So if you're going to please the aesthetic, at least go with the fantasy, and they have done a good job doing that statement that I just said. They have performed pretty well in the missions I've used suppressor weapons in, and it's a complete change. I could see it like over time, and I honestly think suppressor weapons could even be, if you're trying to go like stealth gameplay, no more crossbow, no more eruptor, no more laser weapons. Suppressor weapons can easily be the meta for the stealth weapons. Like I said, suppressors now have their own niche, and they do very well at that niche, which is a good sign to see. And I'm happy that Arrowhead made those changes to accommodate those players who have been asking this for a long time. Dudes like Wise Guy Vito, like weekly, would just upload about how suppressors are dog shit. Now he cannot upload how suppressors are dog shit, and he can do something else. Shout out to Wise Guy Vito. Good thing he kept complaining about suppressors. Next, I say the overall update in itself, when it came to the rework, I would have to give it a score of 8 out of 10. I would like to see like an update when it comes to like enemy rotations, because I've been a big advocate of enemy rotations allows the players to have a visual indicator, or the casual player to have a visual indicator when to exploit that rotation or when to go in. It just helps in with a lot of creativity. So it would have been really cool to see some sort of rotations that the automatons have going on, so they won't really stay clumped up together. I think that's really a big issue with the automatons at times. When you see heavy base, sometimes you look inside one of the heavy bases that have that one cannon turret, and the fabricator near the bridge. I don't know. I forgot the name of that heavy base. It's a name. There's a name for it, but I forgot it. But if you look at the middle, there's just a clutter of bots in one section. And if they had an update that kind of fixed that, that would be pretty nice. Or if they had an update where all those bots having like a rotation patrol would also be pretty cool. Like I said, I'm a huge advocate of rotations for a reason, because I've played a lot of stealth games, and I've played games that have stealth mechanics in them, or you allows a player to engage in stealth mechanics. And the consistent pattern that I've seen is all these games allow players to see a rotation that the enemy has. And I think Helldivers 2, especially on the Automaton faction, can go that route as well. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe it's a little bit harder, coding and whatnot. But it'll be interesting to see that. Now let's move on into the missions itself. I played all 3 missions. I recorded 2 missions, two stemless, no death, full clears on Super Helldive. Recorded both of those yesterday, so if you guys want to watch those videos, you can, to see how I play and whatnot, and see the decisions I make, and give you guys some pointers and the loadouts that I use and whatever. The missions, I say, are pretty spot on nice. I think it's a nice addition, really. It's like a good 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Now, the reason why I say 7 out of 10 to maybe sometimes 8 out of 10 is the side objectives. I think the side objectives are, quite frankly, a little bit too easy to do, not gonna lie to you. Not saying I'm a CBT enjoyer or I want the game to be like hardcore hard veteran mode. No, I'm not saying that at all. But what you see, the side objectives, you're just pressing in an input. I wish they added the jammers that we had in the common bot missions. That would have been a really cool addition, right? Is adding those jammers. I think a jammer being added onto it would just make the mission a little bit more challenging in a way. See how can you go into a jammer stealth like and whatnot, or see what sort of strategies people will use. Or would people bring Hellbomb backpack? Would people use their destroyer to call down the Hellbomb backpack or call down the Hellbomb? It would have been interesting to see that way, because when it comes to the mission itself, especially in a solo, you only get 1 destroyer. So 1 destroyer, or you get 2 chances to use it. The first chance you get like 50 seconds. The second chance you also get 50 seconds. So you only can use it once after your first go through, and that allows the players to have some sort of critical thinking moment, and you are reinforcing players that make smarter decisions with the destroyer. So it would be pretty interesting to see what happened if there just was a jammer right then and there, having 4 of the reinforcement pods, I understand why they did it, but I want them to see it. They probably won't do it anyways, because I'm like a niche channel, but it would be cool to see them remove 1, add on the reinforcements to the other pods, and just add in a jammer. I want to see how people would play for the jammer, how they would react to it, what loadouts they're going to bring. People are going to be Hellbound backpack, okay? Or going to go in raw dog style with smoke nades. It would just been pretty interesting to see what other players would do, especially like myself, when confronting the jammer in these sort of commando missions. Now, the commando missions within itself, when it comes to 3 missions, there's the camera mission, the extract intel, and there's another one, the secure black box. I've only uploaded and played the camera mission, and also uploaded and played extract intel. I think these 2 are the better missions. When it came to the extract black box, your side main objectives were just destroying anti-air missiles, or anti-air guns emplacement, and I just kind of find that kind of boring, not gonna lie to you. It just didn't really spark something in my monkey brain. I was like, oh, okay, that's nothing. When it came to the other missions, though, that was really fun. I like the video camera one. That's a really interesting idea. I'm glad Arrowhead is sort of being creative when trying to figure out what objectives will be cool for the player to do, or the average player to do. And I think the camera one goes very, very well with their creative ways. It's really cool to see that, when you get the camera, especially in your solo, you have to sacrifice your support weapon. So you have to understand what's the routes and understand what's the quote-unquote meta for the camera mission. What I've seen, the quote-unquote meta for the camera mission is you destroy every side objective. So your bases and whatnot, the bioprocessor or the stockpile, you destroy those, and then you pick up the camera, because now you are sacrificing your support weapon. That is an interesting dilemma where they say, okay, you either going to do the main mission first, or you're going to clear out everything and then do the main mission. I think that's pretty interesting what they did there. And when it came to the extract intel, I think the extract intel is also a pretty fun mission as well. When you do extract with, well, not the extract, but when you do bring the intel out, inside of the box, there's an alarm that goes off. An alarm that goes off alarms any enemy within the vicinity. I think that's a cool and nice addition. I cleared out that whole spot, so I didn't see like waves of enemies. But it would be pretty nice if a patrol, or even it would have been really interesting if the alarm goes off, a bot drop comes along, because now it has the hive mind system. They're saying, okay, there's someone there. Let's have a bot drop there. I think that would have been pretty cool in that aspect. But overall, the intel mission, extract intel, and the cameras are solid missions. The solo experience when it comes to these missions, I'd say are a bit challenging because, like I said, you only have one destroyer. And when you only have one destroyer, you really have to pick when to choose to use it and when not to choose to use it. So let's say if there's, I don't know, a factory strider inside your extraction, right? You guys know those extractions where there's enemies there. The factory strider is just right on top of the extraction with like the hawks and berserkers around, and maybe even war striders. Would you want to use your stratagems or your orbitals on that extraction, or do you want to use it later when it comes to the enemy bioprocessor because there's just too many enemies cluttered in one area? I like how they challenge the player enough where they're not really taking away all your resources, but they're limiting them. I think a lot of people, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people don't like that, limiting your resources. But I think when it comes to stratagems, limiting stratagem resources, I would say is, may hate me or not, I think that's a pretty good step forward to difficulty, because a lot of people, including myself, and I think a lot of other players as well, we kind of rely on our stratagems a lot. So we rely on our reds and greens, and I think limiting that option is an overall positive to me. An overall positive change. It would have been cool if that was a modifier in a couple other games, but when it comes down to the mission itself, when you have one destroyer, I just like that the game kind of forced me to critically think, should I just use this on this extraction, or should I use this on clearing out this base or this enemy base or this bioprocessor, because I only got one chance. But one I didn't like, okay, big negative, is the reinforcement and supply pack meta. You're going to bring some, I don't know, okay, not you're going to, but for me, I brought supply pack each run. Even if I was using my recoilless rifle, I was going to bring supply pack, because just having the limited resources goes a long way. But then including that, there's not that much POIs. I've seen that there's not many POIs. I've run around the map sometimes, and there's not that much POIs that you have compared to the main mission. So you can't really get, scarcity of ammo, grenades, which the scarcity part is really cool. I like that addition. But the reinforcement and supply pack meta, I think, is a big negative for me. I'm not saying supply pack's bad. I'm not saying it's a crutch. But what I am saying is that they could have gone along the way, with adding a little bit of the same amount of POIs that we have on the regular missions, and have this ammo placed out in different places somewhere. Because most of the time, I was worried about not enough dynamite I have. I only have 3 dynamites. If I'm bringing a recoilless rifle, I won't have a supply pack on my back. But other than that, I think the missions itself is really fun. Like I said, if you're a solo player, you're gonna enjoy. If you're a guy who likes stealth, or a guy who likes doing like ghost diving or whatnot, you're gonna enjoy this sort of mission type. You're gonna enjoy the new update that came out and the new missions overall. Next is going to be the Warbond within itself. Now, I tried all the items in the Warbond. Like I said, I'm not really going to get deep into it, but I'm just giving you my overall critiques and overall feeling towards the Warbond within itself. Let's go off for the armor passive. I think the armor passive is hands down one of the best passives in the game. Now, why would I say that? I already considered Scout one of the best passives in the game, because of the main reason is you have the ability to have better aggro control than any of the armor sets, and that's just hands down true. Now, when you have this new passive that comes out, which is just Scouts on steroids, you have one of the best armors for aggro control in general. I think Antique Nova even said the same thing when it comes to Scout passive. Why he uses it is because you just have good aggro control. Now, this new armor, you just have better objectively aggro control when it comes to detection in your footsteps, and overall the 50% reduction that it takes for the enemy to react to where you are. I think that's just overall strong, a really strong passive to go for. I would say, if you want to really test out why I say this, go against Predator Strain, specifically the Predator Stalkers, which has the craziest, highest aggro you can believe in. You shoot one direction by accident near them, they're just going to run at you like they're on crack. Now, if you shoot accidentally in one direction, they're going to wait a bit. You can see the time difference between them having aggro on you and then you having the time to react to that sort of aggro that is going to be placed upon you. Like I said, Scout passive beforehand was one of the best passives in the game for that reason. Now, this new passive comes out, it's one of the best in the game for that reason as well. A lot of people like to say Scout passive and whatnot is for stealth and all that, but it's like, no, it's really just for aggro control. Once you understand the mechanics and detection mechanics of the game, which I've gone over in a past video around 2 months ago or so, you'll see why I say Scout passive is one of the best passives, because it just allows you to have absolute control in aggroing enemies, if you know what you're doing. Next is going to be the weapons. You have the DMR, which I really like. I think the DMR is just a replacement of the Diligence. I'm going to use that DMR more often. You guys are probably going to see me in my other solo runs against the automatons use the Silence DMR, the sensor. I think it looks fucking fantastic. I love the, what do you call it? Like a cyberpunk aesthetic look that has going on, very futuristic. I love the silencer part. The weapon drag can be kind of horrendous, and I've seen recently that it has some weird, like invisible wall shooting that it does. It kind of bounces off things that shouldn't, and I think that's just a drag, like fucking up and a glitching. Excuse me, sorry, burp. I think that's the drag fucking up and glitching that I've seen. But other than that, I like the weapon. It's just a Diligent silencer, and I'm probably going to use it more than the Diligent in itself because it's the way it looks, and it functions like one closely. So it's like, might as well just use this guy, and he looks cool. The AR, I'm gonna be really rude. The AR is fucking garbage. I don't care about the AR. The AR sucks ass. I don't know why people use the AR. I don't know why people use ARs in this game in general. That's just me. I just don't like ARs in this game. I think this is the only shooting game where I despise ARs because it's just, it's. Dude, I'd rather use the M97 SMG, the Halo SMG. I'd rather use the Halo SMG than the AR. It just, I don't know. I don't like the AR. Not a big fan of it. Like I said, it may sound rude, but I really think it sucks ass. Next is the Re-Educator. Now, the Re-Educator is it's a funny gun. I personally think it's a meme gun, the way that Re-Educators will be used. I've used it a couple of times when it comes to Hulks and whatnot, when it comes to Devastators. It's funny to see a Hulk turn around and you're just like mag dumping his vent in the backside. But it's just, I feel like it's a funny weapon overall. It's one of those meme weapons that you can bring. It's pretty useful in this aspect. It has some niche, but it's just a baby spear gun. Think of it as a baby spear gun in a way that can't kill as much as a spear gun can, but it can distract enemies. That's for sure. The caustic effect you can definitely tell. But when it comes to the weapon itself, I wish the AoE of the caustic effect was a bit bigger, and then including that, more ammo for it. I think only having like 18 rounds or whatnot, it's like, come on, man, like. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they did that with the Re-Educator. I see what they were going for. They were going for like the pistol that you have, the sleeping pistol that we have in Metal Gear Solid 5 and Metal Gear in general, the sleeping pistol. They try to do something along those lines, but yeah, it just ended up pretty short. I think they should have just went to say F it and just make it actually like a sleeping pistol that just sleeps enemies. Who knows why it does it? Space magic. I don't know. I think that would have been a pretty interesting idea. When it comes to the smoke nades and the lore mines are funny. Lore mines are also funny. You can just throw a lore mine near a bunch of Terminids, and they'll go towards the lore mine, so you can see a wall of Terminids is going towards it. I think it's really funny, really neat, has its niche, especially when it comes to automatons and whatnot, and the Voteless. When it comes to the Illuminate faction, I think the lore mines are pretty cool. The smoke nades, there's impact smoke nades. I don't know what else to tell you. If you like smoke nades, go use them. Next is C4. Now C4, man, how can I say this? Underwhelming, to say the least. I wish the C4 had more C4. I think the demo force should have been able to close bug holes from the outside. Because the problem with the C4 is that it's going to be compared to other anti-tank weapons, and then including other anti-tank weapons, it gets compared to your grenades. And if I'm going to be frank with you, I'd rather have dynamite than the C4. I'd rather have supply pack and dynamite with the C4. Because the issue with the C4, it doesn't have a niche that the dynamite already does. The C4 can destroy Battle Titans with 3 C4s. It can kill behemoths. It can kill Hulks and whatnot, and Factory Shires, all that good jazz. But when it comes to the utility aspect of the C4, I wish you can just plant it outside the bug hole and just able to destroy it like you can with the dynamite, including the fabricators as well. C4 needs a bit of love from the developers. Hopefully it gets buff in one way or another. We'll see. But when it comes to the overall Warbond, I would have to give it a solid 7 out of 10, or an 8 out of, maybe even 7.5 to an 8, because I did want to play the niche playstyle. Now, like I said in my last video, that this is a Warbond if you are into stealth games or into the stealth mechanics and the detection mechanics that the game offers for you, and on the automaton faction. This is a Warbond for your type of playstyle. If you do not like this type of playstyle and you're more of the dude bro boom boom shooter type, which I am too as well at times, don't get the Warbond. You're not missing much if you don't like the playstyle. I think you're missing the drip. Oh yeah, the drip. When it comes to the armor drip, amazing, fantastic. I love the all black fatigue, simple, clean, nice aesthetic. It matches with a lot of all black helmets as well. I like to match it with the light gunner helmet to go for like the hunk Resident Evil hunk umbrella style, you know, when it comes to the umbrella core. But the aesthetic overall when it comes to the medium armor set looks very futuristic. I like that as well. And the lighter armor set that's also in the Superstore, that's pretty cool. It's just another trench coat one, so I don't really care about it. I don't even like the scout armor sets for a reason, because they're just trench coaty, and I think it just, not for me. But when it comes to the all black fatigue, man, that is just perfect. I'm probably going to wear that just for the drip in itself, and also the passive, which is really nice. So I'm not going to forget about the drip. That was just for the drip aspect. I should have put that first, but it is what it is. Now, like I said, when it comes to the play styles, if you are, like I just stated, you like stealth, blah, 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 you like stealth games, you like the mechanics, you like to dive into it sometimes, you're going to like this Warbond, you're going to have fun with this Warbond. And some people, I even saw in one of my comments, said that they were pretty much not looking forward into the Warbond until they played it, and they end up enjoying it and end up enjoying the new missions, which is always good to see. Some people, like I said, not their playstyle. If your playstyle is more the I just want to shoot everything and kill everything, you're not really missing out that much on this Warbond, to say the least. Wait till next month. I think next month is the month for anniversary for Helldivers 2, so we may have a Warbond when it comes out on the anniversary, and that may be a chapter change. And I think that's it. I think that's what I'm going to talk about. Overall, I will give this update, Warbond, and including the missions, together grading of, call me a glazer. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Call me a glazer. I don't care. 8 out of 10. It did a lot of things that maybe it's because I kind of expect them not to do that much, so my expectations were low. But if my expectations were low and they actually meet the expectations that I would have, and they did, I would say this was a pretty decent update overall. It made a playstyle that people wanted more accessible to the broader audience and to the average player, and then including that, and reinforces those players to engage with those mechanics as well without punishing them too harshly. The missions are fun, and including missions are fun. They require you to think more often and how to engage and whatnot. And it's just a nice update overall. There are some things I want to see added on and maybe even changed, but that's just personal reason, and that's just really small. If I was going to be on a micro level, I will give like I said, I'm not a glazer, I'm not a cry diver, I'm just a guy who plays a fucking game at the end of the day. But I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because it's just, it met my standards, including my standards, including the drip. I now have a different way to play the game constantly. I'm always finding new ways to play the game, finding new loadouts, and I think going into the stealth-like aspect is also a fun way to engage with the mechanics of the game overall. And if you enjoy the sort of mechanics, you're going to like the Warbond. If you don't, then you won't like the Warbond. There's a lot of other things they can update as well when it comes to crashes and whatnot and performance issues and all that other good jazz. But that criticism is for a different video and a different topic on a different day. And at the end of the day, this is a good solid Warbond. I'd say if you want to play the play style, and if you've been using Scout Passive and doing a lot of stealth missions, buy it. Might as well. Or farm super credits and don't buy it. Just farm super credits, or just don't even buy it in general and just wait until the next one if you don't like it. You can skip it if you want. Now, would I rank this Warbond and when you should get it? If you really want to go try hard mid-maxer in this game, get the Warbond. That will be probably like top 8 Warbond that I would suggest you getting, mainly because that armor passive is just incredibly strong overall. Yeah, that's it. This is probably going to be my first and last first and last Warbond plus update plus mission review all in together. These could have been separate videos, but I decided to do all in one and just give you a little quick rundown of what I think from a player like my perspective, a solo player who plays the game constantly and who no-lifes it after work and school and whatnot, and give you guys my perspective and how I feel about the Warbond is. It's probably my last time I'm going to be doing this. I'll probably do this for other Warbonds and updates in the future, but more separate videos rather than all together. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you guys have a good day. And please comment down below, what do you guys think of the overall feeling of this Warbond? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. Hope you guys have a good day. I'm out. Peace.